Hello, everybody. Good evening. Happy Thursday. Thank you for waiting. I hope everybody is safe and sane and happy or whatnot, somewhere in the middle at least. And thank you again for joining me. This actual news. We're going to discuss today everything and anything. We're going to talk about President Biden traveling to Berlin. We're going to talk about Ukraine. We're going to talk about Middle East. There's so many developments there. We're going to talk about the Harris Walz campaign. We're going to talk about Trump and everything that has to do with that. We're going to talk about Musk and Starlinks and review a bunch of videos as well. So, full program today. And I'm excited. I'm excited. And we try to keep it as positive as possible. Okay. However we can. Hey, Chris. Evening fam. Yes. News time. Soothing music. Yeah. I push buttons and things come up. Hey, Daniel. Hey, Callie. Oh, no, no. You're not going to miss it. No, no, I just returned. Hey, Brandon. Hey, Callie. Hey, Daniel. Hey, everybody. We're here. Awesome sauce. Hey, Jack. Hey, everybody. Hey, Keith. Hey. Okay, we have the bye party and the hey party. Okay, we just drive everybody nuts who's a hater. Now, if you're a hater, relax. Relax. See, I'm purple. I'm not even, blue or red or whatever. I'm purple. Like a dinosaur. So let's start with something. What am I going to start with? Oh, I want to start with media. Media is doing what media does. And I've heard reports, official reports today, that media is very unhappy with me. I would love to cry you a river, but then no, I would be dehydrated. So, my point on that is I'm never hateful. And whenever I'm asking a question as to, and I know specifically what I said in my question, that how can something type of content qualify as an interview if the interviewer is speaking more than the guest? I also called a specific network entertainment network because that's what this network has stated in court. So, out of respect, I call it entertainment network. So whatever complaints you file, do it. If that makes you feel better, whatever makes you feel better, do it. Whether it's gonna bother me, no, it won't. So we'll continue as we are, and you can do it as much as you want to do. All right. That's to you. This is really media related, not you guys, but I wanted to say that it was an interesting day. And so let's review. For instance, Politico, that is overseeing White House Correspondents Association at this point, has these interesting posts that they want to go viral. Kamala Harris goes bear hunting. And look at the picture. That's not a picture from yesterday's interview. That's not true. That's not even professional. Speaking of professional, how about this? Now I like him. Some black voters in Georgia see Trump as a real option. Now you found this dude fully dressed in MAGA attire to make him your headlight. Now let's talk about New York Times. Musk is going all in to elect Trump. Elon Musk is planting himself in Pennsylvania, has brought his brain trust to help, and may even knock on doors himself. So you're fanning in front of Musk, who is buying an election. Why don't you, the gray lady or gray haired lady, whatever you call yourself, silver, whatever, why don't you state the obvious that he's trying to buy election? An oligarch tries from the African apartheid, tries to buy democratic election in the United States. Why don't you stick to the truth? Shall I file some complaints? I have a lot of complaints, but let's leave it at that. Let's not make it hateful, but had to be said. Fox definitely an entertainment network, not news. Thank you, Skyman's Follies. But they stated that in the court. So for that reason, hey, Maurice, so for that reason, out of respect, I'm referring to this as an entertainment network. And please don't tell me about your headlines. I showed you two political headlines, one New York Times headline. One is worse than the other. None of it has to do anything with truth. On that note, pushing the angry black woman. Exactly. So, on this note, We will continue the way we handle it here. And if somebody doesn't like it, what I can tell you that we never gaslight anybody. Speaking of Fox Entertainment Network, the person who's supposed to be interviewing Kamala Harris, who is the story, wants to be the story and wants to gaslight us to think that she went to Fox Entertainment Network to be clickbaity, to be the star, to get the headlines. Like she could never score a headline, and this is the thing. Now, watch this. And if you were to file a dictionary, this is gaslighting.
I actually think this is a different take. I think she had a mission that she wanted to do, and maybe she wanted to have a viral moment. She wanted to have a pushback. She came to Fox News and she wanted to have a go after Donald Trump viral moment that plays on a lot of other channels and on social media. And I think she may have gotten that.
Easy on that Botox, Brad, because otherwise we will be missing not just your common sense and dignity and decency, but also your eyebrows, because they're going so far north. You might need, Bluetooth to find them soon. But let's talk about actual news, because we're here for the actual news. Kamala Harris today held a rally together with Mark Cuban. And certainly this was all about not just politics, but really business. And first things first, Mark Cuban took everybody to school, because we see him on Twitter shitter talking about tariffs and explaining it to us, but it's an echo chamber. So he used the podium, he used the time, he came up with all the glasses and reading from his phone. I think he's the first one to read up a text from his phone, but he told us about the tariffs. So let's look at it. Let's learn. Here we go.
Yeah, we don't like him. Let's just call him the Grinch from now on.
That's referring to.
But you know what? It gets worse than that. It's not just about the Christmas presents you won't be able to buy because the tariffs made them too expensive. But we were talking about small businesses, the local retailers that you've been supporting for years that are in your community, the local clothing shop, the local sporting goods store, the local knick-knack store that carries all the candles and all the goodies and funky gifts that you like to buy. Their costs for everything they sell, or most of the things they sell, could go up by 60%. And unfortunately, when you raise your prices, again, the Grinch doesn't understand how economics work. But when the tariff increases the cost of their goods, the things that they sell, and they have to raise the price to match the tariffs, are they going to sell as much? Thank you. I thought I had you all trained too. And so what happens is, when people can't buy as much as they were going to because the prices went up because of these stupid Chinese tariffs, not only is it a bad Christmas for you, but it's a bad Christmas for every single retail. The Grinch is the one that's going to be putting these companies out of business. The Grinch is the one that's going to be putting these small businesses. Thank you. Let me just say, this is the first time in my entire life someone's ever said they can't hear me. Behind every small business, there is an entrepreneur that busted their ass. Behind every small business, there is an entrepreneur who gave up almost everything to be able to start that business, who dreamed of a better future for their family. The Trump that stole Christmas, the Grinch, will crush those dreams if elected. So let me tell you again. Is there a candidate that will help those small businesses grow? Is there a candidate that is helping to... Thank you, there you go. Can I get a hell no? But there is one candidate who has an amazing program for small businesses. There is one candidate who is trying to help every single entrepreneur make their American dream come true. On Shark Tank, I invest in so many companies, and I talk to so many, and I help them. I see the struggles, I see the opportunity, I see the heart, I see the fear sometimes when you're running the business. And if Donald Trump is elected, that's 60% across the board tariffs, or even worse, can put them out of business, which is exactly why we need Kamala Harris to be the next president of the United States of America.
So you saw it. Then, almost at the same time, this is Wisconsin. Bill Clinton joined Governor Walz in North Carolina, where Governor Walz said pretty much the same. They all was focused on the first-time home buyers, entrepreneurs, those who build businesses.
And whether it's affordability on college or whether it's young folks and the rest of us trying to buy a home, building 3 million more affordable homes and down payment assistance to let people get in those homes. The down payment is what keeps us out of the homes. By doing the tax credit and allowing it to go forward, more people can buy homes across this country. Build
And tell me once again, who doesn't talk about policies and who does? So on this point, coming back to the media question, if you are devoted to your work, and devoted, really, you take the quality of your work seriously, like as if your reputation would depend on it, the way it's supposed to be, in my humble opinion. We need to present the truth. This is not about liking or disliking. It's not about hating or loving. I don't love anybody in politics. I don't hate anybody in politics, but I present actual news. And I wish we all could agree that the actual news is that we can't, God damn it, we can't believe. How can we end up in this allegedly 50-50 election? To quote New York cartoons, here's God. I still have no idea how the election is so close. We can laugh, but it's true. Now, Kamala Harris at the rally in Wisconsin brought the point all the way home. Here's a clip, 1 minute, 28 seconds, describing her policy.
Together, we will build in that future what I call an opportunity economy, which is where every American has an opportunity to own a home, to start a business, to build wealth. Under my plan, and I know this is a big deal for the young people here, we will bring down the cost of housing. Because there was a time that generations of Americans could count on the American dream, but for far too many these days, it is just out of reach. So we will deal with the housing supply, and I will commit to creating a $25,000 down payment assistance so you can, for the first-time home buyers, just get your foot in the door. We will help entrepreneurs and small businesses to begin and grow, because we know small businesses are part of America's backbone in terms of the strength of our economy. You know, the woman who helped raise my sister and me was a small business owner. I know. Do we have small business owners who are here? Right?
If I hear that story one more time, Kamala, I might recite it for you. But truth be told, I know it's a lot of rallies at the same time, multiple rallies a day. You don't have to watch all of them. Watch what is new. And so this is my job to present you some clips so you have an idea. Watching everything, I can't have that because I cover a bunch of other stuff. So let's keep our head on a swivel. Now, one glorious moment at the rally. Pro-Trump hecklers tried to disturb Kamala Harris. Now, watch this.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I agree. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, this was good. This was good. We're all clapping, we're laughing, everybody. Hey, hey, New York City. Hey, Jack. Hey, everybody. Um, that's really cool. Now, meanwhile, what do you think Donald was doing at the same time? Donald was having a photo op at a barber shop. Bunch of you tagged me in this thing. Chris posted this first, and then others tagged me in it. Take a look. This is how it looks like when Trump wants to exit a car and enter something else. And then I'm going to tell you how it looks like in New York City. Secret Service falling like trees, like leaves off the tree. What they do, they build this thing every time he exits the car and enters something else. I have bumped into this white thingy, and I don't mean Trump, he's orange. That whatever they're building, I bumped into it a week ago when he was in New York and going for lunch. He was recording this podcast, flagrant podcast, where people laughed at him. Anyway, I didn't know what the hell that was, and I seem to bump into him sometimes. That was right by the Trump Tower. And so what they do, they build this thing so he can exit the building, get into the car. The car arrives, they build the thing again so he can exit and go in. Right now, this is when he went in. This is what went down. This is like literally a photo op. Take a look.
Nice to see you all.
Welcome, welcome. It's our pleasure.
How good are the barbers here?
Excellent.
Very, I can see they're good. They look good. Nice soft floor. What's that all about?
That's what the back.
Is it something? The back. Nice to see you all. Big hands, strong guy. Nice to see you. So you're the owner?
My son is the owner. He's on his father.
Oh, you did that very nice and easy, huh? Is he as good as you?
It's great.
Nice to see you. Thank you very much.
Donald, the last thing you need is a barber, more like a guy with the glue. Unfortunately, we all decided on purple today. But whenever they built this white thing so he can enter exit, there's also snipers. And I saw it myself. I'm eyewitness news here. He has snipers in the car, on the car, and near the car. We're worried about taxpayer dollars and all that kind of stuff, but let's not comment on that. This is sacred. Now, this though is how decency looks like. And so this is a former president, right? Trump is former president. I mean, we have it. We have to deal with it. Another former president who I mentioned joined in North Carolina today, Team Walls, is Bill Clinton. And I cut out a clip for you, which is like 2 minutes and some, which really resonated with me. Aside from the rally talk and, advocating for Kamala Harris and whatnot, this is what it really comes down to. He talked about taking the oath and the secrecy of presidency and what kind of job that is. Take a look.
The oath says you promise to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And he said, I think I'll start with domestic. Bring me the Army. Now, I used to like President Clinton. I once said only he and Ronald Reagan were the great presidents since World War II.
So just to make sure we're on the same page, he means that that's what Trump would say about him, right? Meaning he has the Supreme Court ruling with the immunity. So if he wants to take Clinton out, he could. That's what he means. So I just want to provide context so we don't think that he misspoke. There we go.
But I've had a change of heart, and I think he needs to go away for a long time. And I'm not going to execute him, although I could, under the Supreme Court's ruling. But I think I'll just send him to the Colorado Supermax for the rest of his life. So I've already got a petition ready. I want him to transfer me to Guantanamo. Because when you're 78, you're a lot more worried about it being too cold than being too hot. We're laughing about this, but let me tell you something. Being president is a sacred duty. And the sheer joy I had every day, I'll never be able to repay all of you for. Even the terrible days when they were trying to tear my head off, there was always something good you could do for someone. And the idea that we should give in to grievance and resentment and score settling. You know, even my mother used to say that my greatest weakness as a politician is I could never remember who I was supposed to be mad at. But when you get a job like that, you are supposed to do your best to be fair to everybody and try to do something that's good for everybody. That's what the job says.
So, now when media fails with the headlines, late night shows take over. Now, I don't mean SNL because I don't like how SNL portrays Joe Biden. This is my opinion. I don't want to feature it. I think it's funny how they do Kamala Harris. It's all good. I think they mean it, innocently about Joe Biden, but he is not, dementia driven. Trump is. And I don't like that rhetoric. But when late shows take over, that's when you know that the media is failing to deliver. Now, this is something that is a gem. Now, they're going to be cursing. It's going to be a little harsh, okay? But it's going to be nice. Now, Dave Bautista is an American actor and retired professional wrestler. Regarded as one of the most prolific professional wrestlers of his generation, he rose to fame for his multiple stints in WWE between 2002 and 2019. Today, he took on Trump verbally. Take a look.
Fellas, we gotta talk. A lot of men seem to think that Donald Trump is some kind of tough guy. He's not. I mean, look at him. He wears more makeup than Dolly Parton. He whines like a baby. The guy's afraid of birds. Donald Trump had his daddy pay a doctor to say his little feet hurt so he could dodge the draft. Look at that gut. Like a garbage bag full of buttermilk. He sells imaginary baseball cards pretending to be a cowboy fireman. Guy's barely strong enough to hold an umbrella. I mean, look how he drinks water. Like a little pink chickadee. He's got jugs, big ones, like Dolly Parton. He cheats at golf. He creeps around beauty pageant dressing rooms. You know that little dance he does? He looks like he's jacking off a pair of giraffes. He's moody, he pouts, he throws tantrums.
No, get those lights off!
He acts like a 5-year-old behind the wheel of a truck. He bends over for Putin. He's cattier on social media than a middle school mean girl. The guy needs help walking downhill. Almost there, Grandma. So this November, let's stop kidding ourselves. Donald Trump is afraid of rain, of dogs, of windmills, Merle Street, and being laughed at.
Isn't it past your jail time?
And mostly, he's terrified that real red-blooded American men will find out that he's a weak, tubby toddler.
Mommy, take me home. Mommy, I want to go home.
What's wrong, tough guy? Does someone grab you by the whiny bitch.
By guys who can still see the run.
Meanwhile, media is catching up on a serious note. that what I'm trying to convey here every night, hence I'm pissing on a bunch of people, and apparently my computer, that even if Kamala Harris wins, these fellas are not going to go away. Take a look.
You know me, I'm normally a voice of calm, and I'm here not as a voice of calm today. I think that what the vice president said, what Donald Trump has said, what members of the Republican Party have said leads me to think there is a coming massive crisis that's going to occur on November 5th with the election, in which even if Kamala Harris wins the election and wins those battleground states, the Trump team is going to declare victory with J.D. Vance at his side, and they will pressure courts, they will pressure state legislatures, they'll pressure state governors, and they'll pressure the United States Congress to throw out the popular vote and get this election through shenanigans.
And now, how do I remove this thing? Here we go. This is all very serious. And what New York Times was fanning out of it is the Musk, right? And what he did, he moved to Philadelphia. He's offering money for those who will be signing some sort of a thing with him, which certainly you don't need to sign anything to vote, not something that Musk offers you. So he's gathering data. He's gathering, I don't know, he's knocking on doors. Now he announced he's going to do events. All you need to do, vote for Trump, come in, and I'm going to, entertain you, maybe dance, maybe jump, certainly jump. Now they're selling this dark MAGA hats. Also, New York Post suddenly learned how to read lips from the Ethel Kennedy's funeral service and celebration of life yesterday, where Biden and Obama spoke. And so they made it up a whole story that they read the lips and said that Biden says Kamala Harris is not as strong as me, and Obama said, I agree. So all of this is nonsense. But 3 billionaires invested so much into $210 million to be exact, and I reported on that yesterday, to manipulate this election. Now, in order to understand how these people work and handle it, right? How would it be if Musk were to become, let's say, God forbid, Trump won, and then Musk is his secretary of whatever, right? Currently is what? Finance, efficiency, whatever they made up. They're going to make up stuff. He's going to be there. How does this guy handle it? Now, here's Isaacson, who, or Isaac, whatever his name is. He spent a year plus some with Musk and wrote a book about him. And here he describes how Musk took over Twitter. Now, it's not about Twitter. It's not about anything. Think about the methods, because that's what's going to be implemented at the White House if he were to have permission to do so.
He was at Twitter headquarters. He said, we don't really need 3 different server farms. And the engineers say, well, yes, we do, because we need backups and we need caching or whatever. And he says, no. He decides they should get rid of the servers in Sacramento. Well, they say, fine, but that'll take 6 months. He said, no, you can do it in 6 weeks. And he's getting really dark. And they don't know how to deal with him, because this is like a month after he took over Twitter. And they're saying, well, no, I'm sorry, Elon, we can't do it. And he'd say, you can do it in 6 weeks. And by the end of the meeting, he said, you can do it in 6 days. He gets really dark, and he decides he's going to fire them. It's December 23rd. It's like 2 days before Christmas. He does fire them, but the next day, Christmas Eve, he's flying from San Francisco to Austin, Texas to go home for Christmas. He's with 2 young cousins on the plane who are engineers, and one of them says, why don't we just take those servers out ourselves? Elon Musk makes a U-turn in his airplane, tells the pilot to go to Sacramento, and they go to the server facility. The guard there is like flummoxed. It's Christmas Eve, and they're forcing their way in, and Musk turns to his bodyguard and says, do you got a pocket knife? The guy goes, yeah, and cuts the cable to the servers, and they got rid of that server farm in Sacramento. But it's why 80% of the people who worked at Twitter when he took it over are gone.
On Christmas, 80% of people just cutting wires. What do you think is going to cut off at the White House? And by the way, White House very, restrooms, flushing is a thing. It's been built in the 1800s, 1810, rebuilt after the British set it on fire. So jokes aside, it's not even funny. We're going to talk about Ukraine. We're going to talk about everything. But what I want us to visualize when it comes to Musk, here's a clip. It has not I mean, it's not feature him or what he says. This is just a factual thing um, on Starlinks. And what type of control does he have, right? What we have learned recently is that thanks to Musk's Starlinks that he's providing through Saudi Arabia to Russians are advancing in Ukraine. And this is why. This is his influence when it comes to internet, when it comes to controlling the connectivity and even the access to information. So take a look. This is how Starlink started. Pay attention to the years and how does our Earth with the Starlinks look now. Yeah, pretty interesting. So yes, and Chris, to your point, yes, Elon gives internet can take it away, certainly. And relying solely on it is pretty creepy. Now let's talk about some things that are actually positive and some readouts that I have here for you. So this month is the American Italian Heritage Month, and so President Biden and First Lady Dr. Biden celebrated it yesterday at the White House. They held a reception celebrating this month, recalling lessons learned in their grandparents' kitchen about love, inclusion, and generosity. First Lady reflected on how these values shaped her work as First Lady, including bringing more voices into important conversations, particularly for women, military families, and students, and creating new experiences at the White House to honor diverse communities. President Biden, while acknowledging his Irish heritage, emphasized his strong connection to Italian American communities, sharing anecdotes about his relationship with Jill's family and the community's support throughout his career. And if you're familiar with certainly the history in the United States, Irish and Italian were exactly the opposite. Think about New York. He also praised Italy's leadership on the global stage, including its role in supporting Ukraine and contributing to NATO and G7. President closed by comparing the community's journey to Michelangelo's carving of an angel from marble, expressing gratitude from their impact on America's history and his own life. That is this infamous thing, infamous saying that Michelangelo said that I took a piece of marble and I was carving until I freed the angel. And he said that's what Italian community is doing. You free us, right? Certainly a beautiful thing. Let's check some comments because a bunch of comments coming in. What are you reacting to Italian heritage? Oh, Chuck Schumer, you're talking about some other stuff. Okay, guys. All right. Oh, you're talking about satellites. Chris already 6 satellites in space now, 44 to cover USA, 24 hours a day. Okay, you guys are talking about coverage. Now let's continue with our readouts. Also, big thing today. And by the way, in the newsletter, if you're not subscribed, get it. You can get it free if you decide to support. I'm always grateful for you. Also, please share this video, like whatever you need to do, repost so people can get actual news. Onest.substack.com. The letter is ready, will be sent to you right away. I was waiting for something. So President Biden announced an additional $4.5 billion in student debt cancellation for 60,000 plus public service workers through the PSLF program, bringing total relief for over 1 million since he took office. Thanks to improvements by the Biden-Harris administration, teachers, nurses, and first responders are finally getting the student debt relief they deserve. So far, the administration has approved $175 billion in student debt relief for nearly 5 million borrowers. While others try to block progress, Biden and Harris continue to fight to make higher education accessible to all. Now, complete readout details will be in your newsletter, so go ahead. And if you join us tonight with the Honest Substack, Honest newsletter on Substack, you have access to all the newsletters starting June. So all the actual things are there. You can search for a topic that interests you. A bunch of very prominent business people are reading this newsletter. I don't want to name drop because I didn't ask them if they allow me, but trust me on that. That it's pretty useful. Look for yourself, check it for yourself. Now, FBI announced today that Alabama man Eric Consul Jr., who's 25, arrested by the FBI for hacking the SEC's X account, Twitter shitter account. Consul and others, well, that's his name. Consul and others allegedly posted a fake announcement under SEC Chair Gary Gensler's name, claiming Bitcoin ETFs were approved, causing Bitcoin to jump $1,000 up, then crash $2,000 after the post was corrected. Authorities say Consul used SIM swap to take over a victim's phone and access the SEC's account. He now faces conspiracy charges and up to 5 years in prison. The FBI and SEC continue their investigation into this cybercrime. I would say F around, find out, and he certainly did. I mean, who does that? And by the way, where is this? Is that what those 80% of people at Twitter Shitter were supposed to work at? That the SEC can get hacked and all this stuff can. I mean, it wasn't hacked for a minute. It took time, right, to up the stock and then crash it. So, interesting. Okay. All right. Moving on, checking the comments. Let's talk about the Middle East. So it was announced later yesterday. Today, more details came out. So U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, carried out precision airstrikes on Iran-backed Houthi weapons storage facilities in Yemen to diminish their capacity to attack international shipping in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. The strikes targeted underground sites housing advanced weaponry aimed at U.S. and coalition vessels. The operation involved U.S. Air Force B-2, that's how it looks like, it's pretty cool, stealth bombers, highlighting the U.S.'s ability to strike globally. Initial assessments indicate no civilian casualties, with updates expected as further information is confirmed. Now, big news in terms of Middle East is that the leader, Hamas leader, Yahya Sinwar, anyway, we refer to him as Sinwar, he has been targeted. He has been taken away. I was sent reports and pictures of him, the way they found him in the rubble. That should come with a warning. I'm not going to show you those pictures, but it's certainly him. You can recognize him. So President Joe Biden issued a statement. He confirmed the death of Hamas leader Sinwar following a successful Israeli military operation in Gaza. Sinwar, responsible for orchestrating the October 7th massacres in Israel, kidnappings, and atrocities, was identified through DNA testing. Biden called this a significant day for Israel, the United States, and the world, noting that Sinwar's actions had led to death of thousands, including Americans, and caused immense suffering. Biden highlighted the collaboration between U.S. Special Operations and Intelligence Services with Israel in locating Sinwar and other Hamas leaders. President praised the operation, emphasizing that no terrorist can evade justice forever. He drew parallels to U.S. raid that killed Osama bin Laden in 2011, acknowledging the emotional weight this moment holds for Israel. Looking forward, Biden expressed hope for a future in Gaza without Hamas, focusing on potential political resolution to benefit both Israelis and Palestinians. And he reaffirmed that while Sinwar's death removes a major obstacle, much work remains to bring the region closer to peace. Now, Kamala Harris also addressed the nation right away from where she held the rally. So let's take a look. She issued a statement.
Israel has a right to defend itself, and the threat Hamas poses to Israel must be eliminated. Today, there is clear progress toward that goal. Hamas is decimated and its leadership is eliminated. This moment gives us an opportunity to finally end the war in Gaza. And it must end such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination. And it is time for the day after to begin without Hamas in power. We will not give up on these goals, and I will always work to create a future of peace, dignity, and security for all. I thank you all.
Try screaming at her after press pool. Now, Austin, our Secretary of Defense, Austin, said that the killing today of Sinwar, the leader of terrorist group Hamas, by Israeli forces is a major achievement in counterterrorism. Sinwar's death will not heal the wounds of October 7th atrocities that he plotted or the many deaths for which he is responsible, but I hope that it may bring some small measure of justice and solace to families and the loved ones of the many victims of Sinwar's premeditated cruelty. Also, Secretary of Defense Austin spoke with Israeli Minister Gallant today to discuss reports of this killing. Secretary Austin reaffirmed U.S. support for Israel's right to defend itself and reiterated that the deployment of this terminal high-altitude area defense represents United States' unwavering support. Now, Secretary Blinken also spoke with his counterpart in Saudi Arabia, Saudi Foreign Minister Prince long name. The death of Sinwar, spoke about the death of Sinwar and the importance of ongoing efforts to end the conflict and secure the release of hostages. The secretary discussed ongoing work towards a post-conflict period in Gaza that ensures Hamas does not remain in power and provides a path for the people of Gaza to rebuild their lives and realize their aspirations. Now, why is it important? All the readouts, all good. Saudi Arabia, together with Qatar, and Blinken also spoke to Qatar, were those who sat at the table with the United States and Israel negotiating on Hamas's behalf, right? When we talk about negotiating with Hamas, Hamas is not sitting at the table. They are very much recognized foreign terrorist organization, FTO. So the United States is not going to sit at the table and negotiate with them. So they're represented by Qatar. They're represented by Saudi Arabia. Sinwar was the guy who's supposed to sign that agreement, right? The ceasefire agreement, the hostages release agreement. And what he kept on doing, he would say, well, I agree, but now 3 more points, right? And so today at the State Department, I saw so many Palestinian, mainly, journalists, reporters asking a question, why did you kill the guy who's supposed to sign the agreement? And U.S. said, well, he never agreed to agreement. I mean, he said, well, yeah, but 3 more points, right? Protect me for life and my family, right? And then I agreed to ceasefire. Now, if Israel protects him for life and his family, anybody can do another attack, such as October 7th, right? So for that reason, he kept postponing it. Now, Israel chose this path. United States, in face of Blinken and Austin, have written a letter to Israel, which they sent yesterday or Monday, and they said, look, you blocked the aid to Gaza for 2 weeks now. You open it, handle your business, decide what you want to do. We give you 30 days for it. Why 30 days brings us past the election. So next administration that comes in can weigh in on the next steps. My guesstimation is that Netanyahu's bed is not going to be as comfortable if Kamala Harris is about to come in. Now, if Trump comes in, who's facing same issues as Netanyahu, corruption charges for Netanyahu, these are coming in December, unless there is a war, state of emergency, state of war. Will Trump help him? Probably. So for that reason, it is important to follow what's going to happen. Now, the facts, though. More than 1.8 million Palestinians in Gaza are experiencing extremely critical levels of hunger, with 70% of crop fields destroyed and livelihoods decimated during the ongoing Israeli military offensive. A UN-backed food security assessment released on Thursday has revealed 1.8 million are having nothing to eat, literally nothing, and Israel blocks the aid. Now, we talked about it more in detail yesterday, so let's refer to that. Another interesting development that has to do with Saudi Arabia. Remember, we talked about BRICS, right? The BRICS is the union where, China and Russia are headlining it. It's an economic union, so to speak. And they have a meeting in Siberia. And so they invited Afghanistan, in the face of Afghanistan's Taliban, to sit at the table and join BRICS. And so that's what Taliban is going to be doing, joining BRICS. Saudi Arabia is supposed to be there. Who's going there is Secretary General of United Nations to this literally terrorist thing. But today, this video came out, which was really interesting. Instead of BRICS, Saudi Arabia is doing this. Where's my video? Look at it. To explain to you, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud skipped BRICS, but attended the first ever EU Gulf Cooperation Council summit in Brussels. In Brussels, heads of state from EU and Gulf countries took a group photo, as you saw, as the EU Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC) summit took place. The European Union is seeking to work more closely with the GCC, which brings together Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates in addressing conflicts. Now, this is important, in both Middle East and Ukraine. Big thing happened. Newspapers are missing the point. Saudi Arabia chose a side. If we're talking about World War III, or whatever you see, right? China, the evil axis. We're going to talk about it. China, Iran, North Korea, Russia, the axis of evil. Saudi Arabia, the country with the most money, together, they brought together, right? We talk about Kuwait, Qatar, UAE. They chose a different side. They're meeting with Macron. They're meeting with EU. Skipping BRICS, choosing EU. That has everything you need to know about oil prices, about dollar. When we talk about, the MAGAville, they talk about, the world is going to switch to yen because China, Russia, blah, 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 blah. No, this video, him smiling and taking pictures, choosing first EU thing instead of BRICS, it's a big development. Let's continue on Ukraine. Well, plus minus Ukraine. It's about Treasury. Our Treasury today sanctioned, so Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control sanctioned 3 Chinese entities and 1 individual for developing and producing Russia's Garpia long-range attack drones used in the war against Ukraine. This marks the first U.S. sanctions on PRC-based firms creating entire weapons system for Russia. So China is no longer sending chips to Russia so they can produce drones, missiles. They're producing entire systems that they're selling to Russia. Speaking about joining a war. The move underscores Russia's growing reliance on foreign expertise to sustain its military campaign. Truth be told, there's so much corruption that, with even Putin stealing the most, that they can't cover the needs in terms of missiles and drones, right? Because they're burning. I mean, just imagine, they're losing 1,000 people a day. Can you imagine? 1,000 people per day in the war against Ukraine. and they can cover their demands in terms of necessities when it comes to military equipment. U.S. remains committed to disrupting these networks and curbing Russia's destructive capabilities. Talking about Treasury, Secretary Yellen today was in New York. I covered her speech. She talked about global economy. She talked about China. She talked about what to expect. Detailed report is in your newsletter tonight because you got to read it. Now, I would love to talk about President Biden's trip to Berlin. I will share more as soon as I can, which will be later tonight and certainly tomorrow morning. So let's not overstate any boundaries, but let's refer to our briefing that was yesterday. Let me check your comments real quick. It's sickening what's happening to those people. I don't know what you're talking about. Putin is really shoring up support. Yeah. Israel always blocks aid to Gaza because Hamas, yeah, we talked about it yesterday, certainly. Heard the reason Hamas attacked Israel was the shells had been shipped from Israel to Ukraine. And if, according to agreement with USA, Israel was attacked, they could access during a time of conflict. I'd have to read on that. Saudi Arabia funded 9/11. Let's be more mindful here. The number of Russian losses in closer 1.2 per day. See, it's getting worse. So, to your point, exactly, what's worth? So in the yesterday's briefing, and this is, for me as Ukrainian-born U.S. citizen, this topic is tough, right? Because when we talk about Ukraine and we don't hear what we want to hear, this is tough. But let's stick to the truth. So yesterday we had a briefing about with the senior administration official who briefed us on certain points about Ukraine and what will be discussed in Berlin in a meeting between President Biden, Chancellor Scholz, and also federal president of Germany, Steinmeier. So let me just ask, just have this little readout from Q&A. Question: the United States has promised 2 additional Patriot systems to Ukraine, right? Mind you, this is long-range missiles. And one since then that was going to be refurbished. Can you tell us whether either of them has been delivered yet? Senior administration official says, I'm not going to get into the status because I don't have that on my fingertips, but maybe we'll get to it later. This is to, we have announcements, right, of aid, which is great. Now, this is your fact about delivery when it comes to long-range missiles. So people are so focused on whether the U.S. is allowing Ukraine to strike far, deep inside Russia. Now you have to have ability to do so. They already do it with their drones, targeting military facilities, oil, facilities, whatever, storage. But in terms of long range, you need Patriot systems. Those are, unknown, whatever, to be delivered. Now, this is something that I want us to pay attention to. This is literal readout. Remember yesterday I talked about Zelensky's victory plan. I think it's a victory wish. What's the plan? First point is let's join NATO. Second point is give us everything to push Russia out. Third point, give us everything to never let Russia in. Point 4, use our military, our national resources for mutual profit. And point number 5, let's put Ukrainian military instead of Americans at different NATO, military stations. So that's the 5 points. So referring to that, the question was about Ukraine's request to join NATO. Now, this is senior administration official. There's a discussion amongst, quote, there's a discussion amongst NATO allies about an invitation. There is no consensus at this time to offer Ukraine an invitation. So some of these are obviously long-term things that Ukraine would like to see in place over the course of many, many years, perhaps even decades. Others are more short term, especially in terms of some of the military capabilities that they're looking to secure for themselves right now. And some of that we're already, in fact, actively doing. And so this is going to be an ongoing invitation. Many, many years, perhaps decades. We want to, the bottom line for the United States and for President Biden is that we want to put Ukraine in a position of strength. We want it to prevail in this war, and we need to give it the capabilities that it needs to do that. But we cannot do that alone. We need to do that with our partners and allies, which is why President Biden has called for Ramstein Summit or leaders level meeting of what is called formally the Ukraine Defense Contact Group. Yes, we have postponed that, and that will likely take place next month in November, likely after election. Now, this is NATO's leader today, Mark Rutte, quote, "At the moment, it looks like Ukraine will be the 33rd member, but perhaps someone else will pop out in front of it. But Ukraine will be a member of NATO in the future. That is what we have decided in Washington. So the question now is about chronology. Maybe 33rd, maybe 34th. Easy peasy. Keep it breezy." North Korea has reportedly 3,000 to 10,000 soldiers. Now the news, near Ukraine, in occupied areas. Now the news that came in today that also North Korean generals have joined those troops, ready to join Russia. State Department refused to comment on this today. Foreign Policy, it's a journal, they held a meeting on this evil axis, right? China, Iran, North Korea, Russia. I covered it. I want to have exact readouts from their guests so you will understand that, what their mind is. Chang-Ming Lee, senior fellow at Carnegie Endowment, said, quote, "There is a common interest of hatred against the West and America and some type of strategic alignment, but this is not an alliance. It's not long-term. And the most important glue that should hold them together, which is absent, is trust. None of these four countries trusts each other. I think that is going to undo the so-called super Eurasian alignment over the next 4 to 5 years. So they don't believe it's long term. China doesn't trust Russia. Russia doesn't trust Iran. All of them are backstabbing each other. But 4 to 5 years, I want to remember what Ukraine was in 4 to 5 years. But how should the West counter this collaboration? There are no further sanction options, says Barbara Slavin, distinguished fellow at Stimson Center. And bombing would provoke too much escalation. That leaves only diplomacy. But diplomacy is tough because the United States pulled out of the last deal. There's very little trust on the Iranian side. And of course, there's very little trust on the US side as well. But I don't think we have another alternative. If we can't reach a grand bargain, we have to work for small understandings that de-escalate the tensions over the nuclear program, and even more important, over the regional crisis, which is getting worse and worse. Now, meanwhile, do I have this video? Yes. Meanwhile, Trump blamed Zelensky for starting this war.
People say that. A lot of people say this will be our last election. You know, you've heard that too.
I listen for
It's so bad what they're doing to our country on the borders. It's so bad what they're doing with the money, the billions and billions of dollars. I think Zelensky is one of the greatest salesmen I've ever seen. Every time he comes in, we give him $100 billion. Who else got that kind of money in history? There's never been. Mm. And that doesn't mean I don't want to help him, because I feel very badly for those people. But he should never have let that war start. That war's a loser.
Well, Russia invaded Ukraine, took over the territory, raped, abused, killed people. But Zelensky had to bow down and just accept. Let's answer some questions. Brandon says, I thought Biden changed his plans to Berlin until later this month. There's two things. One is Berlin, meeting with German leaders. He's in Berlin today, and he's meeting with them for one day. Another thing is Ramstein, which is near Frankfurt. That's military base, and that's where the meeting's supposed to be. That's the heads of state talking about military aid to Ukraine. That has been postponed, and that's what I had the readout for. It will be most likely in November, virtually, and there's no date for it. Keith says, would they extend NATO would extend invite while in the midst of warfare? The reason, the solution here is to extend the invite to unoccupied areas of Ukraine, leave occupied areas to Russia, which will push Russia then. If the rest is NATO, Russia will be pushed out, right? So it's a technical issue in that time. So those lockers have frightening names. Oh, okay. You guys are talking about something. If you have questions, just ask them now and I'll address it. Now, what Trump says is this complete BS. I mean, talking about billions of dollars given to Ukraine, he well enough knows that 99% of this money stays within the United States. It's used to replenish our military support, our military capabilities. We sell. It's pretty interesting, though. We United States, Pentagon, we price old equipment at the price of new equipment and sell for that to Ukraine, right? So whatever is, let's say Congress designates XYZ number of dollars for aid to Ukraine. Then USAID or whatever governmental part is designated to buy the equipment from Pentagon, giving Pentagon that money. And Pentagon sells what we have now, which is old equipment, which is stationed most importantly, in Germany and in different NATO bases. So it's not really coming from Washington, D.C. or Pentagon. It's in stockpiles. So we sell the old stuff at the price of the new stuff to Ukraine, and we use the money that we got to buy new equipment, which this war, right, in Ukraine helped us, and the time used on it, and I understand the prolonging factor here, we used in the United States to replenish our stockpiles with new stuff. Same as for EU. Same as for other, folks in our allies in the Indo-Pacific, right? Because everybody got caught with their pants down, so to speak. So that prolonging factor just benefited everybody. Now, Zelensky was asked, how can he keep on going, right, on American television? And he said it as is. And then I have another readout.
President Zelensky, thank you so much. Before you go, if you want to share, what keeps you going? Do you ever feel defeated?
I have a lot of power, but even feeling strong and have a lot of energy, it doesn't mean that we want to fight all our life, because the price is high, like I said, because the war takes the best of us, the best heroes, the best men, women, children. That's it. But we are not ready to give our freedom to this terrorist Putin. That's it. That's why we are fighting. That's it.
President Zelensky, thank you so much for your time this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Keith says, can you speak to why there is such a gap in delivery of equipment between Ukraine and Israel? Being scared of Putin and nuclear powers. That's the only reason. Everything else is available. Turnaround. Yeah, that's the reason. To be frank, I can give you diplomatic answers, but this is the actual. Speaking on that, Zelensky today was at the EU Council, and he shared what he told Trump. And there's a pretty interesting information here. He says, quote, there are two choices. Or Ukraine will have nuclear weapons, or we should have some kind of alliance. And apart from NATO, we do not know any functioning alliances today. We want to choose NATO, not nuclear weapons. He added that the Budapest Memorandum failed and Ukraine is the only one affected by it. Quote, if Russia violated this document, although it is and was the guarantor of memorandum, then how can we believe in this document? And how can we trust all the partners who guaranteed the preservation of our territorial integrity and sovereignty? There were not only agreements between Ukraine and Russia, but between Ukraine and all partners. Which of these great countries, of all the nuclear powers, are affected? All? No, just Ukraine. Ukraine. Who gave away the nuclear weapons? All. No, just one, Ukraine. And who is fighting right now? All? No, just one, Ukraine. Now, it has been reported by Bild, German thing, connected to Politico. Yeah. Anyway, Ukraine is seriously considering the possibility of restoring nuclear weapons stocks. The production of the first bomb will take several weeks. Now, a few months ago, a senior Ukrainian official told Bild that other members of a narrow circle of politicians and officials that Ukraine would not accept a second march of Russian forces in Kiev. In this case, Ukraine's nuclear arsenal will be destroyed. It will be restored. Quote, we have materials, we have the knowledge. If there is an order, it will take us only a few weeks to get the first bomb, end quote, warned a Ukrainian official in charge of arms supplies. According to him, the West should think less about Russia's red lines and much more about our red lines. Now, in terms of Budapest Memorandum, what did happen? 4,200 tactical nuclear munitions were transferred from Ukraine to Russia in 1994. Former President Clinton signed on it, UK signed on it, Russia signed on it. All agreed to protect Ukrainian sovereignty. And that's what Zelensky is referring to. And so all due the pressure from the West and Russia, and all due to pressure from the West and Russia, right? Everything was transferred. And today the West is abandoning Ukraine. Now, this is Ukrainian official position at this point. Now, good news, Zelensky is grabbing himself by a pair and saying, okay, you don't want it like this? It could be like this. You don't want it? Do it like that. Another story is, here's a question. Usually, when something like that is reported, that means Ukraine already has a nuclear bomb. That's how it usually works. Nobody's blabbering about something they will potentially do. Why not? Russia can bomb whatever Ukraine has right now. When it goes to nuclear capability, what can happen? If Ukraine has no ability, if Zelensky is bluffing, Russia can do tactical nuclear strikes in Ukraine. And then if Ukraine is able to strike back, they will do targeted nuclear strikes in Russia. That's one possibility. If Ukraine has nuclear ability, Russians know that. Now that's a different discussion. I do truly hope that we're sticking here to core diplomacy, where we talk about something to be done once it's already being done. There is a lot of questions about the Berlin trip, about the conversation in Berlin. It's celebrating democracy. It's a lot of that stuff. Let's hear tomorrow what the deal is. Possibly we don't hear what the actual deal is. But the trip was very fast. It's a very fast turnaround, very fast whatnot. So let's see how this works, right? I presented to you the chances, right? So I do hope this is one thing. And then if it's this thing, it can go this way. If it's that way, it can go that way. So we'll see what will happen. That could end, right? Daniel, to your point, that could end World War III, that could start World War III. So we are at this fork, right? At this point. And a very important thing, nothing will happen before November 5th. Right? Or as long as we don't know who the president is of the United States, because it can go either way. Russia does not need to apply nuclear bombs if Trump is elected. Trump is going to gift everything and anything. There is no need to do it. Now, if Kamala Harris is elected, they will be paying attention as to how she's going to handle Israel. Is she going to show her ballsy reactions here? Russia will pay attention and be cautious. If she's gonna, let Netanyahu do what Netanyahu does, Russia will play, right? So it's like with children, they will try to test your boundaries, and everybody's paying attention. China is paying utmost attention at what Biden is doing with Netanyahu, because if there's weakness with Biden and Putin, Taiwan is the next grab, right? Those islands that Biden convinced Starmer, right, UK Starmer, next to Mauritius, to give up to Mauritius, and Mauritius struck a deal with China. Those islands where US and UK military bases stationed, right, the Diego Garcia base, it's right below China. And this is our base. And this island struck a deal, right, with China. I reported on it. So all of that, right, it's hanging, right? So it's all about negotiation, I agree. And it's about right action. So I do hope, I don't know, but I do hope that when Zelensky says something like this, there is already something done. And so now everybody needs to regroup, because Ukraine has become a player, right? It's not being played and it's here for a handout. It's somebody who has to be respected. And by the way, what Putin, dangles in front of everybody in terms of nuclear ability is what he got from Ukraine. This 4,200 tactical nuclear munitions. That's what he got from Ukraine. That's what he's, playing around and endangering everybody with. So for that point, I think Kamala will be more aggressive than Biden. I think in some of her talks talks are talks, right? At this point, I agree with you, but let's see. Election is election. Once you're elected is another story. Transition period is another story. Post-inauguration is third story. So usually you don't know as much as a candidate, as much as you know once you're elected. And you don't know that much once you are seated in the chair at the Oval Office. That's a third level of information. And now your butt is on the line. So people do change. Expect Kamala Harris to change. And this is just how the world works. This is just, applying for a job, being in the first 2 weeks at the job, and being the director at that job where your butt is on the line are three different versions, three different, norms and expectations, right? And responsibilities. So for that reason, let's see. Her tolerance level appears lower than Joe's. Let's see. I do agree completely with you now. I just want us to be patient to see, right, who wins and whatnot, and let's do what's in our ability is getting her elected. Because if she's not elected, all of this, excuse me, right, shit just hits the fan. So we don't want to do that. So let's focus on what's in our ability. I tell you that every single night. What's in our ability? Talking to people who would listen, taking care of your mind and body so you're well and you can be doing what you can be doing. And keeping the faith and keeping our head on the swivel. All right. As we arrived at the end, today is shorter, just not many news. Here's a fun clip. When Kamala Harris became vice president, she called Obama to ask about Joe Biden and if he would tell her something about him. Take a look.
So tell me about Joe and your relationship with Joe, and what do I need to know? Like, what's the thing about the ice cream? He loves ice cream. Tell me about that.
Well, listen, ice cream is big. Pasta with red sauce. He can go deep on that. He really does like those aviator glasses. He knows he looks good in them. But
you can go deep on the red pass. This is funny. And now one clip that I wanted to show you. That's like a lesson of patience. So there's a guy who bought a regular antenna in like a 99-cent store. And look what he did. With lots of patience and lots of time, he connected himself to a space station, International Space Station. Take a look.
NA1SS, Kilo Bravo 8 Mike. Anyone SS, Kilo Bravo, 8 Mike.
Kilo Bravo 8 Mike, NA1 SS has you loud and clear aboard the space station. Welcome aboard.
Thank you much, 73. Wow, that's impressive. There was nobody on. I had seen on Facebook that they were making some random contacts, so I set the antenna up quick.
On this note, nothing is impossible. You can connect yourself to International Space Station. Welcome on board. Certainly it took patience because you don't know. There's an app. I have this app where you can, it's really good. It's not commercial in any way, but if you want to, you turn it on and you can see where all the planets are, like stars and planets, including International Space Station, where it is like from your standpoint. And so certainly you have to, because it circles the Earth, right? That's why you have to wait till it like aligns with you and then you can connect. I bet that's what the case was. But in any way, nothing is impossible. You can talk to an astronaut in space if you build that antenna and be patient. On this note, thank you for joining me. Please join the newsletter. I'll try to be live tomorrow. I have something until 6:30 and then something from 9:30 on. So between 6:30 and 9:30, if I have ability to prepare for it, I'll be live. I will update Twitter shitter. And tell me, please, because I'm afraid of Twitter stuff. What I say and how I say it, I see it. Things will happen. Do you use, what else do you use? I'm posting on TikTok. I'm being banned constantly because like you can't say anything about Taiwan and China or Trump for that matter. What do you use? Do you use Threads thing? Do you use Substack? Substack is where our newsletter is. Please join. They also have this really great like timeline, whatever. We also have ability to have our own app. Like, what do you guys prefer? I'm going to put in the newsletter, I'm going to put you like a voting thing, what you guys would use in, if Twitter shitter were to shut down. Because a bunch of people also discussing about leaving the platform after the election. And I certainly want to grow our community in actual news, not to stop it. But this is what's worrisome. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you. So, Twitter. If you use Twitter yesterday, you got a pop up about accepting new rules and conditions. What this thing do is in settings, it turned on your Grok thing. So it will use your messages, including private messages, to teach their AI Grok system. So in order to disable that, you have to go to your settings on Twitter, privacy, safety and privacy, and untap the Grok thing because it's now on. And the next thing what they announced is that everybody whom you have blocked will be able to see you. They will not be interacting with you, but they will be able to see you, share your posts, discuss you. So for me, that's a big no-no because I have so many crazy folks that targeted me, discussed me. I went viral for all the wrong reasons. When Fox News altered a clip of President Biden with Obama and Clinton, that fundraiser where they said he, froze and pooped his pants or whatever. I presented the actual unedited video. I went viral. Fox News discussed me. Newsmax called me actually for a comment. All this sort of Bongino, I don't know these people. Podcasters, they drag me through the mud. So I'm blocking and them continuing to discuss me. I don't like it. Because Twitter also, of course, has ability to find out your location and whatnot. So it's more about safety issues. So I want to be aware of it and ask you what other platforms do you guys consume? And certainly the newsletter is where we're meeting and where we're sharing all this information. Renee says Threads. Okay, so you do use Threads. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Thank you, Big D man. New York City, thank you. Now, what platforms do you guys use? I think we should start building our community somewhere else. Yeah, we have ability to have our own app and have chat there. If you created your account, you'll be the first to test it. So thank you about the Grok thing. Didn't see that. You fixed it, Jack? Good. Everybody go fix it. because you don't know. I mean, they say grok, but who knows? I'll follow you when you go, but occasionally visit Blue Sky. Okay. I mean, I've never used Blue Sky. Really? YouTube only. Okay. I mean, we stay on YouTube, Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. So in the newsletter, I'll let you, put up whatever you use. Certainly, I think what I should be doing is whatever I put on Twitter, continue on Threads, maybe Blue Sky, whatever, just so we have, because it can happen any moment that, something does not align, and that's it. So this newsletter, please, it's free. Go ahead, so I have your email and I can reach you. Thank you for your support. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this. A lot of stuff is coming up tomorrow. Briefings starting 8 a.m. Berlin-wise, we have a Gaza thing that will be pretty interesting tomorrow morning. So a lot of non-White House things, briefings. So I'll share it with you. I'm not that much sharing on Twitter now. If you want to know why, DM me. I'll talk about it. And it, has less to do with Musk than with everybody else. Okay, I was banned from shitter. See, that's the point. That's the point. By the way, they should call it shitter. Like, look at poop emoji instead of X. I think Musk would even like it. Tell us how many hours of sleep. 4. 3, 4. Sometimes I sleep. You know what? I sleep full Saturday. If I don't go live, I sleep full Saturday. I just can't wake up because my body knows that I'm not going live and I'm not sending a newsletter. And Saturday, I'm just like, people get scared that they can't reach me because I'm just so tired. I can't get up. Like, I physically can't. And then Sunday, I run errands. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. 2 accounts banned on shitter. See? That's my whole point. And now if you're on like people who you banned now or blocked, whatever, they will be discussing you. Like, what is that? That's crazy. It's impressive. Thank you. All righty, guys. Have a good night. Thank you so much for joining. Have a good night. Keep your head on a swivel. Stay sane. Stay safe. Share this. Read the newsletter. Get actual news. Calm down. We'll be fine. Okay? No panic on Titanic. Have a good night. It's a joke. We're not on Titanic. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.